So basically, I copy pasted a bunch of notes into ChatGPT, and I just wanted to show you guys kind of my workflow for my process for making a new whatever monologue or kind of coming up with ideas for the live stream. I've got a bunch of notes. Please make a Gamma AI slide deck for this. So, okay, so it's gonna. So Gamma AI is a way to kind of prompt presentations. So I'll just grab. It'll make this like. See, it's making cool. All right, let's do this presentation. Oh no, I have to upgrade. Pay monthly. Decrypt 20 cards per prompt. Okay. I'll upgrade. Okay. Here, all 20 cards, because that's what ChatGPT says. That's what it had 25 slides. Please limit it to 20 slides. So okay, cool. So we'll throw that in there and it'll create a slide deck. I don't. Okay, 20 cards. And then let me do, maybe I'll just monologue over the title and then I'll start riffing on all the individual slides. All right. Oh, it's making it as we're doing it. Okay, cool. So it's working. Let me. I think I'll just. Yeah. I'll make this a new tab that I'll read from over here. And then, yeah, we'll have this up. Okay. And I'll riff on the presentation. So, yeah, so I'll have a I don't know, people like to look at things, right? Like this is kind of the whole point of having a live stream. People want to see your face. Like this is my reasoning behind why I'm even doing a live stream. And here, cheers. Coffee, first coffee of the new year. I'm just working on this kind of out in the open, and evidence of my work is work too, right? So I want to kind of establish credibility by recording everything and just pushing it out as content. And the idea is that I have a lot of good ideas in my head, right? And I just want to put them out there. I want to minimize the amount of effort it takes from my mouth or my brain to artifacts on the internet, right? So that's what live streaming is. All right, so I think I'll just present this idea over the monologue, and then I'll riff on each of the slides, because it's kind of hard, like reading, like I tried this yesterday. It's kind of hard reading the monologue and then like trying to go through the presentation, because it just ends up, not working out. The timing doesn't work out here. All right, here's the thesis for today. We're in this weird moment where normal people woke up and accidentally became software companies, not because they went to school for it, not because they learned DevOps, but because vibe coding and agents made it possible to ship something that looks like a product in a weekend. And that's the problem, because a lot of folks can now create an app, but they still don't know what prod means. They don't know what happens the first time a customer hits an edge case, or the first time a dependency breaks, or the first time they need to change one tiny thing and they're terrified the whole thing will collapse. So I want to name the new phenomenon reluctant accidental software solopreneurs. You didn't sign up to be an engineering org, but congrats, you are one now. And it's happening because of three trends colliding. Trend one, like, it wasn't a great economy this last year. Layoffs in a sluggish economy. People are looking around like, I might need to create my own job. Trend two, AI generated code. Beginners can actually reach product market fit faster than ever. They can get traction, real users, real revenue. And trend three, which is the part nobody wants to hear, all the old software engineering guardrails still apply. Branching, reviews, tests, deployments, monitoring, rollbacks, incident response, the whole boring, unsexy stack. In fact, those guardrails matter more now, because when agents make code cheap, they also make mistakes cheap at scale. You can generate 10,000 lines of confusion before lunch. And look, some people are mad about this. You can feel the rage online. The vibe coders aren't doing it right. This isn't real engineering. I get it, because for years, the gate was kept by people who knew the secret rituals. But here's the truth. You don't have to know the most about code anymore to produce a working app. Working doesn't mean beautiful. Working doesn't even mean secure. Working doesn't mean maintainable. But working is enough to get traction, and traction is enough to threaten identities. This is the same exact social fight we saw in jiu-jitsu with ecological approach and constraints-led training. Traditional coaches pushed back hard, not because it didn't work, but it changed their role. Information stopped flowing through them. The smart guy who knows everything identity takes a hit when knowledge becomes abundant. So my contrarian take is vibe coding is going to change the world if we give it time to cook. But the winners won't be the same people who generate the most slop. The winners will be the people who turn slop into value reliably. Because slop isn't evil. Slop is unrefined ore, like raw materials. Dirt isn't slop because it isn't a CPU yet. There's a process that takes the messy, raw material and turns it into something that runs the world. And that's what I'm obsessed with. It's not, look at this messy AI code. It's more about what system catches it, refines it, tests it, and makes it safe. Agents are cheap. So verification becomes the real work. I want to see test reports. I want to see code coverage that actually means something. Unit tests, integration, functional. I want modularity so parts can be trusted and swapped without praying. I want planning that converges like a real engineering team, except now your team can literally be a room full of agents. You spin up perspectives, you summarize context, you have an agent bridge. And if they can't agree after a few context windows, deadlock, alert the human, move on. And then you run this in layers. Cheap models for quick passes, medium models for integration level review, big thinking models for functional and system level checks. This isn't coding anymore. This is process engineering. So if you're a reluctant solopreneur who ships something and now you're scared to touch this, this is for you. If you got product market fit and now the app is a fragile glass sculpture, this is for you. And if you're a developer watching this thinking my job is dead, I think you're wrong. I think devs will be more valuable because they'll be the people who can orchestrate these agent networks into outcomes. Which brings me to why I'm here. I've spent 11 years in DevOps building guardrails, being trusted with keys to the kingdom, making sure one bad change doesn't take down the whole business. I'm a support hero at heart. If everything's going well, you don't even notice me. I'm literally the center, hiking the ball in football. Every play starts there, but nobody buys the jersey. That's also how I coach jiu-jitsu. I set the environment, I get out of the way, and let the student learn. I don't gatekeep, no gatekeeping. So today, I'm framing the rows that lead here. Empathetic AI process engineer, agentic team player, slop refiner. Let's talk about how we turn accidental software companies into real ones without killing their momentum. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we've got, I do like cover up the freaking slide deck. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Cool. All right. I'll riff on the slides, just because I don't know. I need more content. I need more clip. This is my process of clip farming. Oh no, I was on mute for a while. Oh well. Okay. Maybe I'll just restart here. So, reluctant accidental software solopreneurs. So, kind of the idea behind this is technology is so advanced now, one person can do everything from building the app to marketing it to selling it, designing it, everything. The tools are amazing nowadays. The barrier to entry is on the ground. And we now can have there's going to be thousands of people who can just basically make their own jobs with all the different tools available. It's kind of funny. This laptop is like showing the code, but like it's reversed. I didn't notice that at first. But yeah, and like with cameras, like you don't even need a nice camera. I'm shooting on my iPhone right now, and I'm on like a super basic Yeti mic. And then you can kind of string together all these different $20 to $100 a month subscriptions, and you can make all this stuff happen. So normal people woke up and accidentally became software companies. It's not like overnight, but like people can create software that can hit traction, that can get product market fit without actually being a software company. Does that make sense? Like you could be a person who just had a problem and you made your own solution to it. And yeah, you like learned something about software throughout that process, but you don't have the kind of full breadth of experience of like an enterprise software company, hence enterprise vibe code, right? So the idea is that you can code up whatever, an entire business in one day. Let's just say that, right? But you don't have any experience running that. Like I call this like day zero is just having an idea. Day one is like a complete product. And then day two is like, all right, how do we maintain that product over time? And kind of day two engineering is where DevOps and my skill set comes in, basically. So day zero to one is huge, right? Like you're making something from nothing, but then now you have to maintain that over time. And those skills are a different set of skills than what you vibe coded up, right? So three of these different things are happening at the same time. AI made shipping accessible, so like you can generate as much code as you want. Economy made DIY attractive. So it wasn't a great economy for most people, like 99% of people. Like it was full of uncertainty in 2025, and in 2026, probably not looking too different, right? So like people are taking power into their own hands. They're able to like make their own companies. Like this is with stringing these AI tools together. Everybody has a perspective. Everyone has a certain, as Liam Neeson would say, a certain set of skills, a way to view the world. They all have a perspective, and they know very specific skills to solve problems from that perspective, right? So that perspective plus those skills coalesces into a job, right? Turns into a job title at the big corporate level, right? But what if those job titles go away, or your company restructures and doesn't need you anymore, or is offshoring you to whatever cheaper cost of living area? Like, what do you do? So people are kind of striking out on their own, and they're moonlighting as a software development company. Basically, they're vibe coding their own app. And distribution is now kind of like the cost of making an app goes to zero, right? And then now you now have to market that app, so distribution becomes essential. That is now the game, is to tell people about your app. So it's like you build it, you market it, you sell it. Like you own everything about this business, and you may or may not have the skills for it, right? Those three things are are going to keep you busy for a long time, and especially when people's money comes into play here, the consequences become more and more severe, right? Or it becomes much more serious when there's money involved. It's one thing to have a toy app and people try it out and it's free and there's no real exchange. But once your app turns real, quote unquote real, and people start relying on it and they're paying you money for it, then there's a certain level of expectations. And now it's a job. Now it's kind of a job, even though you have one person paying you $20 a month or whatever it is. Now it's a job. Now you have to make the customer happy, right? So these three different things kind of converged, and let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. Meet the reluctant accidental software solopreneur. They just kept they just kept building. They didn't plan out, oh, hey, what's going to happen once I build this app? It's there's a certain set of problems that are well known post launch. It's just they've never launched anything, and maybe they've never even maybe they work as a product manager or something like that. So they're tech adjacent, right? They're technical enough. They understand maybe what happens on day 2. So they are using these vibe coding tools to get from day 0 to day 1. And then maybe they know what they need to do after day 2. But if you're just a person with a problem that is creating your own solution, maybe you don't know all the ins and outs of how to run software in production. So you may not you're coding update your app, your vibe coding, and you then have to market it and sell it and do all these other things. So you own everything. But also reliability, security, and change safety, whether you're ready or not. Needs to keep shipping. Can't afford to slow down, but also can't afford catastrophic failures. So you get this app into a good state of you got it working well enough that you have customers, that it works well enough such that customers are willing to pay you. So you want to keep shipping for them, and you want to keep adding features in response to their feedback, but at the same time, you don't want to break the whole thing. You don't want to break your you don't want to completely, let me this whole bookmark bar, I don't know, it's cutting off, whatever, that's fine. Basically you've vibe coded the app enough to a point where you now need it to work, and then you can't afford for it to not work because now people are paying you. Let's see. One second here. Cool. All right. Um, okay. So this is kind of like a, I don't know. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen like an Ignite talk, where I guess you do design the slides ahead of time, but oh, this is more like a, but like the slides auto advance and hopefully you like catch up with the slides or whatever. But there's a Jackbox game, I believe, where it's like an impromptu kind of speech where you have just slides come up and you have to talk to them, right? So layoffs and sluggish economy, more people building their own jobs, non-technical builders enter software. So people with a problem. This is what I got. Like that's like a kind of a, somebody said it on a podcast once and I forget, like somewhat recently, or maybe it was a podcast, or maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was all in podcast. I forget. You get somebody with a problem and then you get somebody with a solution and you get them together, right? Somebody who can make a solution to a problem, and the person with the problem is basically just as valuable as the person with the solution, right? Like this is the idea of product managers and software developers. Software developers, we like specialize in these different things, right? Devs just want to make the thing, versus product decides what needs to get made, and they work together to do this, right? Like it is a very like cohesive arrangement. Like product represents the business and represents the customer. That's more the thing. The business is whatever coming from the manager, but anyways, like the idea is that nobody's job is safe. Like people feel that kind of inherently, and people are starting their own things. Like has never been easier to start your own thing. And you can iterate like much faster with these tools. Let me try to like figure out what, like, because it's missing this entire like bottom third of this slide. Let's see. Can I show tab groups? Show bookmarks for. Okay. All right, that's a little bit better, but all right, whatever. I guess you can at least see that higher stakes for mistakes. So people are building their own jobs. That's kind of the idea. It's an escape hatch, just in case the company lays people off like that. That's that is a reality, and a very attractive one for many people, because all these tools are pretty, I don't know, a rounding error, like pretty free, like $20 a month, $100 a month, like kind of a rounding error in somebody like a professional's budget, especially if it's related to their job. I say this as a working professional who's doing very well. I totally understand it's a tough economy, and that's like kind of a privileged take. But if you're dabbling in vibe coding, you're kind of like, you're probably doing okay, right? Like if you have $20 a month to dump into Cursor, or $100 a month to dump into like the upgraded versions of Cursor or ChatGPT or Codex or whatever, you're doing okay. And you're kind of in this precarious position of like, you have a high paying job, you're doing well, but those companies love to lay people off. So your people are going out here and like striking out on their own. And they're creating their own company, and they're very interested in doing this type of thing. So it's okay. So I'll just read this third part. Higher stakes for mistakes. This is a side project. It's their livelihood, their family security. The traditional safety net of employment is gone. These founders are all in, whether they plan to be or not. A production outage isn't just embarrassing, it's existential. Okay, yeah. So if you create this escape hatch for yourself and then you have to use it, and then if you get laid off and now this is like your plan B and now you have to execute on it, yeah, this is like every little production outage, like that's real money that people are going to ask back. So some kind of refund or some kind of like credits towards future usage. And like you are going to feel the effects from your personal wallet if people are paying you like the unreliability of your software, right? So if you want to make this a real thing, you need to put in some like day two engineering effort to maintain your app long term. So, okay, Megatrend 2, beginners reach product market fit faster than ever. So product creation costs near zero. It's just $20 to $100 a month, whatever code editor you use, you just like whatever Claude, Cursor, whatever tool you use, a rounding error compared to real developer time. It's just Cursor plus however many hours, your nights and weekends basically to create an app. So you like post your app, you post it on whatever, like you're a person with a problem. So, you know, other people with this problem. So you're able to probably get customers pretty quickly right off the bat. And then sorry, I coughed. Then you hit the maintenance wall. I'm afraid to change anything. You get the app to a good state and then people start paying for it. It's like, oh shit, I don't want to like break anything because then they're going to ask for a refund or whatever. So like a free month next month if they're really relying on your app. So speed gets you to product market fit, but what got you here won't get you there. Scaling and maintaining a real product with real users requires different skills. Skills most accidental founders don't have yet. This is off the slide. This is like at the bottom here. So sorry, I need to adjust my screen to fit everything here. But the I'm afraid to change anything moment is when founders realize they're no longer just builders, they're operators. So that's with the ops part of DevOps, is that the vast majority of work is going to come after day 2. So building the initial prototype or the initial version of the app, day 0 to day 1, that's traditionally has been super hard, and you had to buy developer time or whatever, have to have a bunch of resources, like have VC money or invest your own money into like going from day 0 to day 1. And then that's super risky. And then now having to maintain that app indefinitely because now people rely on it. Now you have like costs associated with running it in production and scaling it up, and hopefully your business model holds with like, all right, if 1,000 users use it with this much usage, like you have to kind of do some math in terms of like, will you even make money on running it? Hopefully you do. But then over time, like the vast majority of the work is going to be maintaining the app in production over time, right? Like you see how day 0 to day 1 could be like either a weekend or a month or 6 months, but then hopefully this app lasts you the rest of your life, right? Like, or the next 10 years or 5 to 10 years, right? Like the vast majority of time, the long tail of time for app development is after day 1, after you launch. It's day 2 onwards. So it's the maintenance wall. You get everything working correctly, and now that there's real stakes involved, you're afraid of changing anything. That's where this process of DevOps comes in my experience in particular. So guardrails. Guardrails matter more now, not less. DevOps and agile practices didn't disappear when AI arrived. They became urgent. AI agents can generate mistakes at machine scale. Without guardrails, you're not moving fast, you're falling with style. At agent scale mistakes, what used to take days of human error now happens in seconds. Process equals competitive moat. Your verification system becomes your unfair advantage. Working does not equal safe. Passing tests in dev doesn't mean production ready. So I guess I'll do that. I'll read the whole slide and then I'll riff on it just to, I don't know, have a little bit more structure, and I actually read what's on the slide. And this is clip farming, guys. This is like me doing distribution right now. Like going off the, like a little bit of a tangent off the slide. 50%. So like if you're a solopreneur in this type of position that I'm talking about, 50% of your job is to build the thing, right? And so software, like any kind of engineering, 50% of the job is to build the thing. And then your other 50% is to tell people about it. You have to market yourself. You have to, like, even internally in a company, you have to tell your manager what you did, right? Like you have to say, hey, I completed the thing. It works well. The PM is happy with it. QA says pass. Like all the stuff works. Like you have to kind of report up what's happening. So even within your like engineering company, there's still marketing happening. Does that make sense? Versus, like not now, if you're taking this model and now you're doing it on your own, congratulations, you are a full stack, biz dev, literal biz dev, right? You are a business person and a developer. Like it's not business development. It's like you are doing the business stuff, the marketing, the selling, and you're developing the product. So if you want a good app, getting back to the slide here, we need guardrails. That's kind of what this image is showing. It's like these rails that are keeping this car on the racetrack. You can't really see it too well here, but there's guardrails here. So we need ways to keep agents on track. And how we keep agents on track is basically how we keep developers on track. And it's all the same thing. Like the people are messing around with different agent frameworks on how to orchestrate agents and whatnot, but it's like ultimately it's going to go through like the same software development process. We need to plan out our work, we need to implement the work, and we need to review our work. Hopefully we have tests so that test these things at different levels. So you interact with Git, you save your work in different branches, you do PR, pull requests, PRs, you merge those changes in, hopefully you run tests or before you merge the changes in, and hopefully those tests are actually like accurate of what's happening, right? And yeah, that's why I think the quote unquote more expensive tests are, wait, let me see. Oh, sorry. I just thought I was muted for a second there. So that's why like the people with the experience and people with the DevOps knowledge aren't going to go away. This is why I'm not like concerned for my job, is because all these things, like when you have a software project, like all these guardrails are necessary, and people who are starting this new project don't know what the guardrails are, don't know that these guardrails exist, and that these are like all solved problems. So anyways, 2 paths to winning. So deep domain knowledge, you're a person with a problem. You know what a customer would want. You know exactly what to build because you understand the problem better than anyone. Years of industry experience, direct pain point visibility, network effects in your niche, plus deep iteration power. You build fast and pivot faster until you find product market fit, ship multiple experiments weekly, learn from real user feedback, adapt without fear of breaking things. Most accidental solopreneurs have domain knowledge. What they lack is iteration power, the ability to change their product quickly and safely. That's where guardrails transform the nice to have into survival mechanism. So yeah, you're a person with a problem, and you need to learn how to be more like a person with a solution. And this is an interesting, like, you are your own product manager and your own developer, except you have more product management experience and you're learning some developer experience, like some developer skills, but at the same time, like, it takes a while to like, and experiences to learn all the different skills necessary to keep an app up in production. So that's again, like where I believe my skills will come in. Distribution is now the default. This is actually a pretty good AI generated image. Attention is scarce. Everyone's building, everyone's launching. Your product needs a megaphone. Trust is the currency. Personal brand is vanity, is your market discovery engine, and credibility proof. Legitimacy equals visibility, being everywhere. Twitter, LinkedIn, newsletters, podcasts signals that you're real and serious. If you build it, they will come. Era is dead. Modern founders are full stack businesses. Builder, marketer, community manager, support team rolled into one. This is why accidental solopreneurs burn out. They're doing 5 jobs, often without formal training in any of them. So yeah, this kind of speaks to, you're not just vibe coding an app on the side, and you don't get to just be a developer. You also have to do all this other work of marketing your app and making sure you go get customers, you get them in a funnel, you sell them on your thing. And it's a whole extra step in terms of, maybe you found product market fit, but then there's all this other work to like be present on all the different social media channels or ad channels or whatever you use to acquire customers. Hormozy says, one channel, one acquisition channel, one, I don't know. It's like $1 million. Basically, you only need to win on one platform, have one reliable acquisition channel, and that scales up to $1 million yearly. So while you're building your app and struggling to keep it up, you're also trying to get more customers to get onto your app so you can scale it and so you can pay for it. And like it feels like a mess, right? Like there's tons of things going on day to day. So this is more along, like, for me, everyone claims to have the secret sauce. You need to prove it. So show your work in public, demos, not promises, screen recordings, live walkthroughs, before and after comparisons, receipts, not claims, revenue, screenshots, user testimonials, metrics, dashboards, outcomes, not features. Help 47 founders deploy safely beats CI/CD pipeline included. The modern builder-marketer hybrid earns trust through transparency, not through polish. Raw, authentic proof beats slick marketing every time. And this is kind of like the state of social media, is that people are valuing kind of raw authenticity, right? And this is why I'm doing this live stream in this type of way. Even though people like do polish up videos and like make really slick looking shorts, and that is optimal at some point. For me, just starting out, like I've literally been working on this project for a month, and I'm getting pretty decent traction just by kind of machine gunning shorts, and like I'm clip farming, like I'm doing these live streams. Not too many people tune into the live streams, but I'm like clip farming the hell out of these things and kind of drawing attention to the channel. So this is my process. if you're watching this is my process for clip farming. Just build things in public. Just talk about it. Put it out to social media. There are real people on the other end of social media. That feels so weird, right? Like like we reduce everything down to metrics. We reduce everything down to, oh, I only got 100 views on that video. Well, it's like that's 100 sets of eyeballs, right? That's 100 different sets of people with brains like looking at your thing. I think starting from a place of gratitude of like, if you went up to 100 different strangers, that would be crazy, right? 100 different strangers in a day, or 100 different strangers even in a month, right? To like starting to pitch them on your thing. And maybe they swipe away, like they physically say, don't talk to me or whatever, right? That's the leverage that we have with technology is crazy. And like I'm looking at my different like channel statistics and whatnot, and I'm getting a lot of people from like 50% from the US, but like a lot of like international people. Like I'm getting a lot of viewers from India. So shout out India. I'm like, I would have never even talked to those people, like never in my wildest dreams. Like that's not if we think about the physical analog to social media, it's crazy. It's crazy the scale that we're allowed to achieve with just putting content out on the internet and people finding it. It's just totally wild. So everyone claims the secret sauce. We just need to prove it just by posting real content, like real like you doing stuff and your app working or not, and posting you debugging it or whatever. Like this is the content is part of the process, and showing yourself in a real way kind of puts a real face to this name. Agents make code cheap. Verification becomes the job. Generation is commoditized. AI can write thousands of lines per hour. Code itself has limited value now. Testing equals new leverage. Your competitive advantage is now proving your code works before users find bugs. Safety systems equals moat. Automated checks, quality gates, and verification loops let you move fast and stay safe. Without verification systems, you get two bad outcomes: either a fragile application that breaks constantly, or founder anxiety so severe you stop shipping new features. Both kill your business. The winners in this new era aren't the fastest coders. They're the ones who can trust their changes enough to keep iterating. So this so cost of building is going down, right? Like cost to build approaching zero. Or cost to generate lines of code is zero. At like virtually zero. $20 a month, like a rounding error, right? So how do we determine how that code works, how do we integrate that into your system? The cost of code to generate code is zero, but the cost to verify code is now like much higher, right? We have to verify. We have to generate a bunch of test code. We have to make sure those tests work and like are testing the thing that we want. We can do like certain things like web framework automation tests, UI tests. We can do like end-to-end tests, like walk through user journeys through our code and make sure that certain key functionality doesn't break. But yeah, the real trick is keeping prod green, keeping the tests that are customer facing, that are user facing, or like the environment that is user facing, keeping that environment healthy while also doing changes, right? Like once you hit product market fit, your customers are going to want more, right? They're going to want, hey, I want this new feature to do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, oh shoot, I don't have a lot of tests around that feature, right? Like you're nervous to change it because it's so critical to your service. You need to have a lot of verification around that. And that's where the vast majority of your time is going to be spent. Is you can generate all that code for this new feature in minutes, right? Or hours. But then testing it and making sure it doesn't break anything else, the existing functionality, that's where the real value is. And is like, so another kind of aspect to this is like, now you are a SaaS for your job role, right? But then now everyone in that, there, whatever, companies do 10% layoffs every year, right? Like something like that. Now 10% of your cohort are now also doing this thing, right? Like now you're also competing with everyone else in your industry for your job role, not just for a job, but now in this like SaaS vibe coded startup space. So now you have like, I don't know, 10 other competitors from the people who got laid off, who are competing with each other in this now, not just for a tech industry job, but for creating this tech SaaS startup that mimics that scratches an itch, that solves a problem that they had, that their job was around, right? So the key differentiator here is that, but this is saying safety systems equals moat. If you can iterate faster, more confidently, that is what is the differentiator between you and your competition. Is that if you can keep your service up more consistently, if you're more reliable than your competitor, people will come to you, right? You're both like just some person who, whatever, like wanted to start their own startup, and you both are more or less doing the same thing because vibe coding allows you to do basically more or less the same thing, like create more or less the same app. Then whoever is more reliable and who can like more reliable for one, because then people will pay you to depend on that app. And then two, who if you can add more features without breaking the app, that's who's going to win in the end, right? So yeah, I'm just kind of working through all these different consequences of vibe coded apps for solopreneurs. Is that the economics of like where everyone in this job, because I've seen, I don't know how many YouTube videos, like YouTube shorts of like, Oh, I made a task tracking app. Or a habit tracking. I made a fitness app. I made like all these like very low hanging fruit apps, very vibe codable, very one shotable. Like everyone and their mother is going to have a to do list app or a habit tracker app, right? It's those next level functionality for your specific job role that you are now going to also going to be competing, not just the habit trackers, but like whatever you're working in the enterprise world, right? Like say you're, I don't know, a sales guy and I mean, the world doesn't need another CRM. I don't think you're going to make a Salesforce, but I don't know. Maybe you have some certain insight as to how salespeople work. Let's just say that. You create a new CRM and it's very tailored towards how sales professionals work. And you, whatever, launch it, and you and the 10% of other salespeople who got laid off that year are also all starting CRMs, right? Do you see like where I'm going with this? So it's not just product market fit. It's not just the idea. It's how you operate moving forward after day one. In the day two operating, how reliable is your app? How fast is it, right? Like how responsive is it? Like if somebody has to wait a couple seconds every single time you change a form, like change somebody's contact information or whatever, if it's a CRM app, they're not going to they need to jam through all these different things, right? They want it super snappy. So there's going to be all these concerns, engineering concerns, day two onwards, that vibe coders may not be terribly prepared for. And I'm not saying this as like a negative thing, or I'm just saying like you may have to pair up with somebody, an engineer who kind of knows what they're doing after a certain point. Like I see vibe coding as great for day 0 to day 1. And then, I mean, we can still vibe code day 2 onwards, but there are certain software engineering processes that will make all of this, make your life much easier, that are going to be super important moving forward. And this is literally my skill set. Okay. What verification actually looks like. Make trust visible. Verification isn't a black box. It's a transparent system that shows you and your users that quality is real. Test reports you understand, clear pass-fail indicators, not cryptic terminal output. Coverage that makes sense. See which parts of your app are protecting, which are vulnerable. Quality gates that block bad changes. Broken code never reaches production. Automated guardrails prevent disasters. When verification is visible, you will stop asking, will this break? And start asking, what should I build next? The psychological shift unlocks iteration power. Sorry. Okay. So this is like drilling into how do we actually test these things. And one aspect of that is like test reports. What are the tests that actually get run? Are they unit tests? Are they integration tests? Are they system tests or UI tests or end-to-end tests? So how well do we output that? How well do we kind of surface that to ourselves and to our users, right? Like there's certain like status monitoring dashboards that show, hey, we're up, everything looks good, or hey, we're down, and there's certain expected bad behavior or something, right? Like there's certain operational things that like monitoring alerts, traces, like things that where we operate an app in production that we can go to and like make sure that it is still up, it is still running, and it is users can access all these things. Coverage that makes sense. So like code coverage. You may think, oh, 100, I just want to do 100% coverage. It's like, well, you can achieve, let me do unit tests versus integration test GIF. This is like my favorite version of GIFs, is that unit tests versus integration tests. Is that like the lock works, right? Like you can move it, but it's not what you expect it to do, right? The module, by like in this example, works, but it doesn't actually work in the way that you need it to, right? So let's see. Let's do another one. Yeah, here. Two unit tests, no integration tests. So the handle works independently, right? But they don't integrate well together. This is a great demonstration of unit tests versus integration tests. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, yeah. Unit test versus integration tests. Like you can drop the trash, like the thing into the trash, but then the hand dryer like blows everything out. That's hilarious. Doors. Oh, integration tests. So, okay. So yeah, these things are like kind of affecting each other, right? That's kind of interesting. So two systems can like kind of cycle, like they can kind of have some side effects on each other, and there's some kind of state left in between. Anyways, oh shit, integration tests. So yeah, you didn't, the sink is installed, the water faucet is installed, but integrating it, the faucet doesn't actually go into the sink. So anyways, I could look at those all day, but so that's like, excuse me, conceptually, those are what testing looks like and how we need to think about testing in a vibe coded form. Oh, all right. I didn't know that this was coming. Coverage isn't number one. It has layers. So as we saw with those GIFs, there's unit tests, integration tests, and functional end-to-end tests. Unit tests are great. Like they're cheap. Usually this pyramid is flipped because we want a lot of unit tests, medium amount of integration tests, and then small amount of functional end-to-end tests. But for vibe coding, maybe this is the new reality. Like we need lots, like these user tests, functional end-to-end tests are what we really need to like base our fundamental understanding of our app on, of like, hey, does it actually work? Let's walk through all the different user flows, all the different things a user can do. We need to verify on every change that they can still do them. And I think these are going to be super critical, and we don't know the full scale of like how critical they're going to be. Like we can, and what's good about these is that we can make these, right? Like we can vibe code these up, and it may be easier to do these given the state of the tools nowadays. All right. Unit tests, individual functions work correctly in isolation. Fast feedback, narrow scope. Integration test, components work together correctly. Database calls, API connections, real wiring. Functional end-to-end, full user journeys work end-to-end. Click buttons, fill forms, see results. Accidental founders often hear you need tests, but don't understand which tests matter when. The pyramid shows where you need to focus, lots of unit tests, some integration tests, a few critical end-to-end tests. I would say in a vibe-coded world, it may even be like flipped, or this may just be like a square. like this is no longer a pyramid, especially if you don't know what the code is doing. You may need way more functional end-to-end tests to really verify that everything works correctly. Like everything works correctly together. Okay, modularity reduces blast radius. Smaller components, easier verification, test one piece at a time instead of the entire system, find bugs faster, fix them cheaper, swap parts without rewriting everything, replace a payment processor or email service without touching your core logic. Adaptability is survival, guardrails become reusable. Once you have verification for one module, apply the same pattern to the next, compound your safety systems. Monolithic code bases trap accidental founders when everything is connected to everything. Changing one thing risks breaking dozens of others. Modularity is how you escape that trap. So there are certain things that enforce modularity, certain languages that are probably more modular than others. Even though modularity is kind of baked into every language, right? I would say, just from kind of a high level overview, statically typed languages kind of enforce this better than kind of dynamically typed languages. So at least with my experience, scripting, Python, Ruby, kind of things that don't need any types. This kind of excludes like JavaScript, JavaScript included here, but TypeScript. I haven't used TypeScript all that much. Maybe that's more, it sounds like it has types. I would say statically typed languages have more modularity kind of baked into the language itself. And I think this kind of goes to how LLMs work and how agents work with their tools. And how like ecological dynamics and constraints-led approach, how this ties in is that the agents only know what they have access to, right? So whatever affordances you give them, so this is like a user experience design type of thing too, is like what makes a button clickable, right? How can you tell when you can click something, or you can like read something, or that you can like hover over something? Like there's certain things in the computer world, and like really, spoiler alert, everything. How does something look like drinkable, right? Like there's certain actions you can take on the world that afford these actions to you. This cup looks like I can drink out of it because there's a little hole at the top and I can put my mouth to it. And I tilt my head back and I can drink from it. I didn't need a manual for that. I didn't need documentation to do that. I just observed it and I did it. I think the way LLMs and agents interact with systems is going to be influenced, how well these systems work is going to be influenced by ecological dynamics, even though people a more computer term for this is like user experience design, UX, but it's really like agent experience, right? Like the agent needs to know how these tools work, and maybe MCP is like a solution to this, or direct calls to binaries or whatever. What is exposed to the agent and how the agent works with those things, that is kind of like the future of where computing is going. So where am I going with this? The guardrails become reusable. So, okay, this is where, okay, I got off on, okay, statically typed languages, their affordances for modularity are better than, say, Python or Ruby, where you can just get away with writing kind of slop. Like that, I'm going to use slop, but like I'm going to reclaim the word slop later. Where Ruby and Python, like there's something in Ruby called monkey patching, where you can kind of like cheat a little bit, where you can say you define a whatever, a module in a class in one way, and then later you can tell it, hey, just kidding, you can like change it later. Like you like overwrite something. Basically, it's a terrible pattern. Like that's not a standard practice in languages. So I think the way how languages are designed are going to change. If there may be languages that are built, programming language that are going to be specifically built for agents to write in. And that's going to be interesting because that will provide better affordances for agents to write better code. So, because programming languages up until this point have only been built for humans, right? Like we need maybe some way where agents, LLMs, whatever you want to call them, can have better affordances. How can a programming language be written such that it's agent forward? Like agents have a great way to interact with it. Maybe not so much humans, but like agents have full authority and control over this language, a full command. Like when someone has command of the English language, they're very expressive. Like they can really talk really well, and they have full, like Stephen A. Smith. He said like somebody, like he got into it with somebody. He was like, I've got full command of the English language. Like writers who can say exactly what they mean at the right time, or speakers or whoever, right? So agents, they're trained on current programming languages, but what happens when agents can now have full command of an agentic programming language that is specifically designed with affordances for those agents to control and have complete like command over, complete authority over? But I don't know, just like a forward thinking thing. So until then, we need to be concerned about modularity and all that, and really understand what agents are creating. Plan until convergence. So this is kind of like a strategy. Maybe in some future we have like some kind of like chat room with agents. Until then, like I use beads, and I have like all these different agents comment on these beads, and it's kind of like a Jira, right? Kind of like a plan. Just like software developers talk about how a feature should be implemented, different agents can kind of like give their different perspectives, and hopefully they can all kind of converge on one perspective or one like area, like a solution space. Maybe not necessarily one point, but they can say, oh, the solution is going to be kind of somewhere around here. And one perspective kind of shaves off some part of the solution space, another perspective shaves off another part, and they kind of triangulate a solution space area in a non-destructive way, and they plan and they kind of add the yes and on each other, and then they can talk about the plan until they kind of agree, hey, the solution is around here somewhere. Plan until converges the agent chat room, multiple perspectives. Different agents bring different expertise. One focuses on security, another on performance, another on user experience. Summarize context. An agent bridge synthesizes the discussion into a coherent plan, removing noise and highlighting consensus. Human decision gate. If agents deadlock, escalate to human. No infinite loops. No wasted tokens. No confusion. One agent might suggest a feature, another flags a security risk, a third proposes a performance optimization. The bridge agent summarizes, here's the recommended approach, and the 2 risks to watch. This is how accidental founders get senior engineering judgment without hiring senior engineers. Hopefully in the future, or I'm sure people are working on this. I can't be the only person. I'm definitely not the only person with this idea, but that different agents give different perspectives. And that we can do this pretty easily, just kind of manually on our own, like spinning up Claude Code, Gemini, Cursor, Codex, like have them all kind of point at the same problem and have them kind of all plan together. Layered model strategy. Let's see, how many more slides do I? Okay, cool. I think I got it. Few more and then I'll wrap. Layered model strategy. Smart, start cheap, scale up thinking, cheap, quick scans, linting, small unit tests, catch obvious errors fast, medium, integration checks, refactor suggestions, ensure components work together, deep functional risk review, system level reasoning, validate entire user flows. Why layers matter. You can't run deep analysis on every change. It's too slow, too expensive, but you also can't skip verification entirely. Layer models let you match verification depth to risk level. Typo fix, cheap layer. New payment flow, deep layer. This is how you'll stay fast and safe. So, yes, maybe. This is kind of like a theoretical type of slide where this was just kind of an idea of like, okay, given infinite budget, we would of course run all of our problems through the most expensive model and let it think for as long as it wants to, and it would solve the problem, right? Like given infinite budget, like given the freaking I forget the Claude Code guy's name, but he's on a generational run. But he also has infinite budget from Anthropic. Like he is the Claude Code guy, and he can use as many tokens as he wants because he's like pushing the boundaries. He is using the thing, and he is going out there and landing allegedly a baker's dozen PRs a day. That is insane. That is insanity. That is insane. That is crazy. That is amazing. And that is potentially the future, right? That is the upper bound of what's possible. And for the rest of us who don't have an unlimited budget of tokens to spend, maybe we split up our models in this type of way, right? Maybe we say, all right, you mostly use cheap models, and we kind of scale up as the need arises. Vibe coding will change the world if you let it cook. Gatekeeping collapses. The you need a CS degree crowd is losing. Access to software creation is democratizing, and that's good. Working does not equal beautiful, does not equal secure, and that's okay. Perfection is the enemy of shipping. Iteration beats elegance. Pushback equals identity fear. Traditional developers feel threatened because their scarcity-based value is evaporating. That's a them problem. The world doesn't need more beautiful code that never ships. It needs functional solutions that solve real problems, built by people who deeply understand those problems. Accidental solopreneurs have domain expertise that traditional engineers lack. Let the vibe coders cook. Give them guardrails, and they'll build the future. So this is kind of like, this touches on the identity part, why there's so much pushback. And yes, like there are issues with LLMs and there are limitations. Yes, there's hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions of dollars riding on this AI economy working. So there's of course going to be pushback of like, hey, it's not like there's multiple forces at play here. There's $1 trillion marketing budget of telling people, hey, this works, while there's also developers who are like, hey, this doesn't work for my particular use case. And people reporting that, and people getting their first impressions of these AI tools and letting that form. And that their first impression was 6 months ago. And now like the entire game has changed with agents, and they're letting that inform their worldview. Or that this LLM technology ultimately can't solve their little like game development problem, right? Or they're making completely new code, completely novel solutions, and they whatever, like they don't trust LLMs with their completely novel solution. Okay, fine. There's going to be edge cases, but I hate to say it, software developers, our bread and butter is like 80% boilerplate. Like the 80-20 of our job is redoing things that have already been done. Like that's half of like what I do at work, is like looking at how other people at my job have done things. And now kind of agents have really shrank down that kind of like we used to have to know a lot of things to do that kind of copy paste problem, right? When I was in school, when I was in college, Cal Poly, we called it, I was in computer engineering, and for whatever reason they abbreviated CPE for computer engineering, for the two main consonants, I guess, computer, I don't know, CPE. So we called it copy paste engineering. And because we would go on Stack Overflow and copy paste whatever the solution was into our text editor and massaged it a little bit, made it work for us. And that era is over. Like, fortunately or unfortunately, I haven't looked at Stack Overflow in months. I haven't even really written a line of code. I've twiddled a couple lines here and there for like a PDF, for generating a PDF, but that's more like formatting. But for real like process type of things, I haven't written a single line in months. For my day job, I haven't written a line in months. I've only used agentic programming, and Claude Code being like my daily driver. And that's kind of unsettling for some people. There's an identity crisis there, right? Like your identity was understanding, reading the documentation, fully understanding how it works, and then copy pasting certain things and like kind of interlocking all of these kind of Lego bricks of lines of code together. And it forms a beautiful file that does everything you want it to do. And it's the minimum set of changes required, and you get attaboys on your PRs, and you do all this stuff, and suddenly 80% of your job is now like commoditized. Yes, it's like the beauty of your code is now going away because the slop is like not as tight. It's not writing super tight code. It's making more not declarative code, but more explicit code. I don't know. Like it's longer. It's taking more lines to do the same work, right? So you feel like you're being replaced. I mean, same thing with artists, same thing with like movie producers, same thing with anything, writers. AI is eating kind of the basics of all these jobs. So we just have to level up. Like that's an identity thing that like you have to let go of. Unfortunately, like I'm not like, wouldn't it be great if the world never changed? If the world was always the same world as it was when we were coming of age, right? And we always listened to the same music all the time. I mean, we can now with Spotify and whatnot, but like, wouldn't it be great if all the world was still like fist pumping to Jersey Shore, at least for me. Like that sounds super unk right now, but that's not the state of the world, and the world changes. Same thing with our professions change. Like the indicator of progress was like, oh, I'm gonna go learn the latest JavaScript framework of the week or whatever, right? Like you knowing things is no longer valuable. That's unsettling. It's more about knowing the process around these things and kind of corralling these things into a good state. So I get it. Like, totally understand if you're feeling feelings of like, oh shit, my job is at risk. There's going to be another job. There's going to be a new version of your job that where your skills are still going to be needed. It's just we need to like upgrade these skills that everyone is right now is a white belt at. Like nobody's a black belt at vibe coding. Like even the Anthropic guy, like what he's doing now, the Claude Code guy, what he's doing now, I'm sure is going to be standard in a year, and we're not going to be impressed by it. We're going to be like, oh yeah, of course people are landing a baker's dozen PRs every day. Like that's just standard, right? Where the standard is going to go up, and the amount of work is always going to rise to it, right? People like customer standards are going to rise at the same time. Customers are now going to expect companies to move that much faster. Competition is in this free market thing is going to continue to drive innovation. So companies are eventually going to see, oh shoot, we need more engineers to keep up with the pace of innovation, right? Like we need engineers plus AI and whatever, have them be 10 to 100x engineers doing the boilerplate stuff that we need them to do anyways, right? All this to say, I don't think long-term our jobs are going away. If at the very minimum, like we can like create our own jobs now, right? Like I'm just saying, hang in there. Like we're don't like being stubborn and being smug are not profitable, right? Like, does that make sense? Like being a holdout is not profitable. Being the last person on the boat, being the like smugly thinking you know something that other people don't, but at the same time like not having a lot of evidence to that. And I'm saying this also like as a reminder to myself. Like I'm already like I have a certain way of doing things, and I'm like hesitant to try other AI like development approaches, right? Like other vibe coding development approaches. Like I feel like I have a good framework going. It's good for me. I like it. Even though there's like new ones cropping up all the time. So I need to be careful of like, all right, this works for me now, but maybe something else can work better, right? Keeping an open mind to that. So I feel like there's a balance. Like I have a concept of like the daily driver agent. You really just want to really thoroughly know one agent so well, you can anticipate how it's going to react and how like what it's going to try to do. For me, that's Claude Code. For others, that may be Cursor or whatever else, right? Codex. And that it's a subjective thing. You feel the car that you drive every day. Once you step into another car, it feels different, right? It's not like you lose all the skills from driving, but like the feel is different. So if you get used to a thing, stick with it, and then you can like build the skills around that primary agent, that daily driver. So if you're switching agents all the time, you're not really learning. You're not investing in a skill deep enough. You're not spending the time deepening that learning. If you're switching, you're constantly switching, you're kind of like starting over all the time. So I think there's maybe it's a 90-10 thing. It's like you spend 90% of your time really diving deep into what your primary agent can do, versus 10% of the time experiment with new workflows, figure out what works, what doesn't, and figure out what works for you. Or figure out if there's something that you can add to work for you. And like, don't tie your identity to, it's just a job. Like, I understand it's a profession, it's a vocation for some people. Like, it feels like especially for me too. Like, I feel like I would be doing this computer thing, like, even if it paid like a blue collar salary or whatever, right? This is just the thing that I like to do, that I like to spend 40 hours of my week on. I would have done this anyway, even if it wasn't paying extremely well. So I feel like there's some inner work that probably needs to be done at scale here by an entire profession. Some like therapy, or some like, I don't know what, but like, understand what you're like, interrogate why you're so against AI, and to interrogate that, like, really understand where that feeling comes from. And maybe it's a feeling of insecurity, of like, oh shit, my job is going away. They're not going to need me anymore. Like, there's probably some like little like demons inside that are saying some negative things, but you can say back, hey, I'll just figure out this new thing, right? Like, this new thing, my boss wants me to do this new thing. All right, I'll do the new thing, right? Okay. So the whatever, the images are all off here, but like, I say this because I literally just went through this in jiu-jitsu. Like, this jiu-jitsu coaching is just literally went through this whole like upending of what it means to be a coach the last 2 to 3 years. So this idea of traditional martial arts is that, oh, you teach wax on, wax off, like step 1, 2, 3, you do these exact techniques, these exact movements, your hand goes here, your elbow goes here, your legs go here, and you're gonna do this exactly, and it's gonna work perfectly if you apply the technique correctly. That's not how anything works. That's not how actual combat sports work. The other person is going to be uncooperative, and you can bet on it, right? Like, it's a competition. People want to, are not going to agree to just let you win. So this CLA, constraints-led approach, Greg Souders popularized this over the last 3 years now, I guess, or 2 to 3 years. It might have been, I don't know, I need to look back, because I interviewed him on my podcast. It might have been 2 years ago now, when he was first talking about these things, and talking about how his students don't drill, and drilling is like sacrosanct in the jiu-jitsu community. It's like, oh, of course you drill. Of course you spend an hour perfecting your technique or whatever, and then the dirty little secret is that it's very rare you hit the move of the day, like in your live training. At least I didn't. And I've been doing this for a very long time, like 13 years or so. 13 and a half years maybe at this point. So what upended the traditional coaching model is constraints-led approach. And the coaching is less coaching. Like, there's less words being spoken in order to get the students to do what you want them to do. which is very weird, right? Like as a coach, you have all the knowledge, right? You're the black belt or you're the instructor, and you're the whatever most knowledgeable, smartest boy in the room, right? People need you. What does it sound like, right? People need your knowledge and they can't live without you. And it's like, oh shit, like with CLA, constraints led approach, people figure things out on their own. The role of the coach is to set the environment for these people to figure out the techniques on their own and figure out what works for their body type for these techniques on their own. Because your body is going to be different than their body, right? Your body works a little bit differently. You may have longer limbs, shorter limbs. You may be bigger, stronger, and the other person, your student may be smaller and weaker, and they may be more flexible, and they can do things that you can't. So all these things are like, there's a lot of ego baked into the traditional model of, oh, I'm the coach and I know everything and I know all the different whatever. All the, like, I can instruct the hell out of 10 steps to get the submission, right? But that's not the most effective way to develop students. If you just give them constraints and you say, hey, these are the main problems, getting this underhook is like a super key problem throughout jiu-jitsu. Keeping your back off the mat is a super key problem throughout jiu-jitsu. All right, let's just work on those. Like, there's no specific technique. It's just, we just have to be stubborn enough to keep our backs off the mat. And that's going to fix a lot of things, right? And we're going to work on that for 6 minutes right now. And switch on your own, switch partners, like go back and forth with your partner, just focusing on keeping your back off the mat. So it's a completely upending of the whole traditional approach. So how this applies to software development is that constraints-led approach, we are constraining AI agents to develop code. We are not telling them, hey, line 1 should be like X, Y, and Z. Line 2 should be whatever. Like, we're not manually writing the code ourselves, which is the traditional way, right? We are constraining, we are setting boundaries around what the solution or search space is for the agent to look for to find a solution. We're constraining. We are telling it, hey, look in this general direction. It should look like this in some multi-dimensional way. And we're adding guardrails to prevent it from going outside those boundaries and breaking everything, right? So I literally just saw this play out for the last 3 years in jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people are using CLA now. Like, I haven't taught, like, I've been teaching, I guess, 2 years, two classes a week for the last 2 years or so. And I haven't really taught static drilling, and people have gotten better, right? People have gotten better at the things that I spend class time on, and they spend real live time working on these skills directly in their environment. I haven't taught a single detail to the whole class. Maybe I find, so this is also where the agents come in, where it's like, okay, you can kind of once the agent sends out a set of whatever, a change set, and you can say, oh, I want this particular line to look kind of like this or whatever. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh, you can figure out the solution, look closer in this direction, right? I can say, hey, put your hand there, and that's just quicker than letting them struggle a little bit, or letting them struggle when they've already been struggling. If they're asking me for help, they've already been struggling with it, right? So I just want to get them moving on the problem. So same thing with agents. If they're going in a direction that I know is not going to be good, you hit escape and you redirect them, right? This is all constraints-led approach. So it is literally the same thing. I view it as all the same thing. I already viewed jiu-jitsu and engineering, software engineering, as the same thing before. It is even more the same thing now right? It was the same thing to me, iterative improvements like in jujitsu and software development, that's all skills in all of life. You will try and fail, and you will get better, a little bit better each time. If you change something, it is even more like the same thing now with the constraints-led approach, where if you tell the agent to look in a particular space in some multi-dimensional fashion, multi-dimensional guardrails, keeping it on track, delivering the feature that you want, it's going to get there for 80% of the cases, 90% of the cases. The percentages keep going up with every new model version. So if we figure out this multi-dimensional guardrails thing, we're going to make it, right? So if you're a traditionalist and think you have to manually write every line of code yourself, I think you're going to be outperformed. Not that you, whatever, unless you are a specific expert in Fortran or in C, low-level C code, assembly code, whatever. Like, if you're some expert and you're generating brand new novel code all the time, sure, that's your very specific use case. But if you're the vast majority of people who just need to kind of like slap together something and get things done and get things moving, the constraints-led approach, the agentic approach, is going to be more productive for you. So this is like my reframe, like my whole arc, an hour and a half in, or hour 45 minutes in, is slop. We need to reclaim the word slop. Slop is unrefined ore. So if we think about this in natural resource terms, or raw AI output, messy, inconsistent, unvetted, but full of potential value, refinery, process, guardrails, verification, testing, modularity, quality gates, transforms chaos into consistency, output, business value, predictable output, reliable features, satisfied users, revenue that compounds. Introducing slop engineering. Not software engineering, too formal, not DevOps, too infrastructure focused, slop engineering, the practice of refining AI-generated code into production-grade systems. Also known as AI process engineering, this discipline focuses on the refinery, the systems, verification layers, and guardrails that turn vibe-coded chaos into sustainable businesses. So, like, Steve Yagi said something that really, like, opened my mind, was all of engineering is taking unreliable inputs, transforming them into reliable outputs. Okay, how does this, like, people say garbage in, garbage out? Well, if your system prevents garbage from going in, you won't get garbage out. You'll get an error message, but you won't get, like, an attempt at, like, transforming something garbage to, like, better garbage, right? If your system is properly set up, you take in this natural resource material, this, if it's dirt that we take from the ground, that's silicon, right? And we press it like the CPU sand trick into okay. This is my favorite programmer meme probably ever. If you ever code something that feels like a hack, but it works, just remember that a CPU is literally a rock that we tricked into thinking. This is from 2017. So, and then, and not to oversimplify, first you have to flatten the rock and put lightning inside of it. This is my favorite coding thing ever, because this summarizes all of my computer engineering experience. Is that I did a bunch of electrical engineering work classwork, schoolwork as part of my degree is computer engineering. It's like half electrical engineering, half software engineering. And all of this just feels like magic, right? Like we have been able to transform these layers of physical material into something that reliably works. That is basically magic, right? We are compressing the sand into like wafers that conduct electricity, and that can, whatever, do all this gestures at everything broadly, right? Communicate wirelessly to other systems, right? This is amazing. Yet it is founded on unreliable inputs. Like, where is the dirt that we get this like the sand or the whatever rocks that we mine? That doesn't turn that's we don't like hook those up to our computers, right? Like, we have to take those rocks, they're misshapen, unpredictable, whatever. We have to grind them down. We have to do all kinds of processing on them before they make it into our machines, right? Like, I think we lose sight of the fact that engineering, that's how we built literally everything. I am shielded from the elements. There is rain outside right now. I am not wet. We have somehow like prevented what, like, a chaotic outside entity, rain, from hitting my body, right? So engineering is this process of taming these chaotic inputs and producing reliable outputs. I can reliably say my roof does not have leaks in it, right? Like, otherwise I would know. Like, we have engineered a solution such that the output is value. Is like my cats are sleeping over here in the cat tree. They are held up by the forces of the cat tree, right? Those the different pieces that make up the cat tree weren't always that shape or that position or whatever, right? So yeah, this is super critical, that engineering is the process of taking unreliable inputs and making reliable outputs. And that black box that sits in the middle, this software engineering process black box, so that we were used to dealing with human generated code, and we use the software engineering process black box to output business value. Now we have AI generated code, like, producing all this stuff, right? And oh, you can't see that. Oh, maybe you couldn't see that on the stream yesterday. Okay. So we have human generated code that inputs into software engineering process black box, output business value. Now we're going to input slop, AI generated slop, into the software engineering process black box, and we want to output business value. Literally same thing as all of engineering. Software engineering is not special at all. I'm going to tell you that straight up, that we are not special. I think that is like an identity thing, that thinking that, oh, software engineering is so like complex and whatever, like we are the freaking philosophers of our time or something like that. People think too freaking highly of themselves to think that they can't be replaced by this box. Like, the human generated code can't, like, we can't reliably improve this box to a certain degree that AI generated code, slop code, can go through it and output predictable business value. I'm sorry. Like, this is what gets me fired up about this project, about enterprise vibe code. This is enterprise vibe code right here. This box, this box exactly, is we are going to take AI slop code and turn it reliably, predictably into business value. I'm sorry. This is what's happening. This is what has always happened in human engineering. We have always done this. This is not new. Sorry, I'm crashing out right now. This is like, I'm just responding to all of the negative comments I've gotten so far on this project. I'm crashing out on live and just saying, hey, this is how everything has always worked. And we will figure out how to make this work in a pretty good way for business value, right? We've always done this. We're humans. We're creative. We can figure things out. crash out. Like, I didn't think I would like just completely annihilate, like crash out on stream. Okay. Introducing slop engineering. Yes. Slop, vibe coding. We are taking back slop engineering. This is, yes, AI generated slop. That is ore that we're going to refine into real business value. 11 years building a refinery. I'm got 11 years of DevOps experience, 11 years building guardrails, CI/CD systems, change safety protocols. I've held the keys to the kingdom, not at multiple companies, that's inaccurate, but like at multiple roles at the same company. Support hero mindset. My job isn't to be the smartest person in the room, it's to enable everyone else to ship safely and confidently. And since I've literally just seen this in jiu-jitsu, CLA coach philosophy, I set the environment, design the constraints, remove gatekeeping. I let builders discover what works through safe experimentation. And builders in this context are agents. And we can figure out what are the systems, what is all the system and the constraints and all that to safely add new features and not to break production. So anyways, that's it. That's the stream today. We're ending on that. I've yapped way too long, yapped for nearly 2 hours. Thank you for listening. I'll probably I'll turn this all into a newsletter, like all these ideas into a newsletter, condense them down. You'll see that later, I don't know, this weekend probably, or today if I'm feeling like up to it. And then I'll read the newsletter, and then maybe I'll like put this out as like I'll put out like reading the newsletters as a podcast, and then certain like mainly talking live streams, I'll probably put those out as podcasts too, because like I've just been yapping for 2 hours basically. And this is something I'm super fired up about. This is literally like what I am going to spend my nights and weekends on is like, I am so fired up about this little box. Everything, like the AI generated code, vibe coders are putting code in. We can apply all of the lessons of software engineering to that AI generated vibe code and output real business value. That's what vibe coders are doing. I'm excited to go to that next level with them, to like move into the future. Is like human generated code. These are two different inputs. We are used to this one input. We're changing to this input. This box just needs to get better at accepting this input now. That is engineering. I'm done. Thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate you, and I'll